Okay, welcome to the March 23rd, 2021 meeting of the Board of Managers for the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau. I'd like to thank you all for coming. It's been a while since we've had an in-person meeting, and it feels good to see everyone and everyone's faces and just kind of be in the midst of society again. So thank you for joining us today. We'll begin with our roll call.
Becky Greenwald.
Here.
Pat Harris.
Here.
Devin Hastings. Here. Leanne Jones. Here. Adam Konechny.
Here.
Laura Krentz. Here. Mike Seitz.
Here.
Doug Water.
Here.
Martha King's here.
Did you forget Adam?
No.
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, I didn't hear you call his name, sorry. Okay, well, thank you for that. We are 100%, so it's a good thing. We'll begin with any public comments, if anyone has any public comments at this time. Hearing none, we'll move into the approval of the February 2021 minutes.
Motion to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. This morning for my report, since we're now being joined by the official business manager for the Fairgrounds Management and Events Corporation, which we refer to as FMEC, Susie Carpenter, I'll leave my FMEC update to her part of the meeting, but I will just comment that we have conducted successfully the annual review of our Executive Director, Mr. Jack Arnett, and he has performed very well, above and beyond throughout 2020.
Well, nobody ever asked me.
We kind of did, you just didn't know what you were responding to.
It was a little spot.
Because we knew if we told you the purpose, it would be a different response. No, and all kidding and joking aside, but the Bureau has performed very well through 2020. A year of very difficult times with the COVID experience, and for the Bureau to come out in a very good position, I think speaks very highly of Jack's leadership, which is supported by what I call one of the most outstanding staffs I've ever dealt with. So we were very pleased with his performance review, and we've decided to keep him for another year. So with that, we'll move right into our treasurer's report.
You should have received via email the claims and payroll report ending February 21st. We had total accounts payable of $82,906.24. We had payroll of $40,105.83 for a total of $123,012.07. I will pass this around for your signature, and also attached to that is the reconciliation details, and the statement of financial position is also included. So I'll pass this around for your signature. And also, we have some catching up to do with regards to different payrolls. I'm passing around the January 21st accounts payable and payroll that we already approved via our meetings, virtual meetings, but we need to sign those now that we're here. Also, the March 20th, April 20th, May 20th, June 20th, July 20th.
Last year.
Oh,
We would be the virtual walkout.
Okay. That's right.
August 20th.
No. It's recorded.
September 20th. November 20th, and December 20th. All these need to be signed. They have been previously approved in past meetings, but they need the signatures of the board members.
Even if we were appointed after that, we need to...
How do we want to handle that?
Yeah, so because of the fact that we've been meeting virtually, we have the authority from the Public Access Counselor to approve everything. And then since it's backdated, basically we can go ahead and sign it because we haven't been meeting virtually, so we can't sign over the computer. So we're good to go. Each of the board members can sign regardless of whether or not you were appointed back then.
Okay. Thank you,
Anything else,
Councilman.
Jack?
No, that was, I just want clarification on Becky's question, yeah.
Okay, as that is going around, I will ask for approval, and right now we're only approving for February 2021, because everything else, as Mike explained, was already approved. So we need a motion for the February 2021 financial report.
Motion to approve is read.
We have a motion by Doug Waters and a second by Martha Keene for approval of our financials for February 2021. Any discussion? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Well, that brings us down to our staff reporting, and we'll begin with Jack Arnett, our Executive Director.
Well, we got to that pretty quick, Pat. Wow, I was sitting there just running through my mind a couple things I wanted to say, yeah. As you know, we've reorganized this reporting to make it a little more smoother, so there'll be several reports coming under mine. But first of all, a couple things from my perspective. I want to thank Pat for the review. I can tell you this, having served as a board member and having served as a higher position as the director, I really appreciate the fact that Pat spent a lot of time on that review. It was very obvious that she's got her fingers on what's going on with the staff and what we're doing out here. And as a director, you appreciate those things when you have not only a board but a president that is able to drill down and really look at what we're doing. It was a very thorough review and very much appreciated. So, Pat, I really appreciate the time and effort you put into that review and the understanding you have of what we're doing out here. I want to thank you for that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, it's very comforting from the staff to know that. Starting out by saying that the CBB and Blue Chip and a few others in the community had gotten to a point that we felt like the best thing we could do as business leaders in the community and as partners in the community would be to continue the great job that our health providers have been doing with vaccines. The best way we can get our economy back on track, the best thing we can do as leaders in this community, all of you and all of us, is to continue the awareness campaign on the vaccine. The very best thing we can do. There's no debate on that. It's pretty obvious. So we have started a campaign, our shop campaign, and I'm going to elaborate on that, but let me say, first of all, that the CBD staff, those that are eligible, we're 100% vaccinated at this point, and so a couple of us are in stages, a couple of folks, but the staff will be, as the age requirements allow, everybody will be vaccinated really soon, and almost all of us are now, so I want to let you know we will be 100%, okay? I can promise you that we'll be 100% very soon, and that's exciting. As far as the Our Shop campaign goes, we've got 4 or 5 local funders. Blue Chip is going to be a funder to help that awareness campaign. Horizon Bank, LaPorte County EDC, Sarah Solutions, the CVB. We're all going to help fund that initiative. Others are coming. I talked with Maria Fruit this morning from the Healthcare Foundation. They'll be stepping in. She's just needing some paperwork from us. Sarah Solutions, we're going to hire those folks to drill down and do the actual project work Mike, did you need something? No. Oh, I thought you were looking for notes, I'm sorry. I hope anybody that's not familiar with Sarah Solutions, they're a great company that's volunteered to donate a lot of their time to this, a lot of in-kind, so we thank them for that. And they'll be presenting, actually we've got a committee meeting this afternoon, and Horizon has asked, and I'm talking about Porte with Craig, and he's asked if Becky could sit in on that for Horizon, so she's going to do that, wearing a couple of hats, represent the board, but also she's going to represent Horizon Bank, which is awesome, on that committee meeting that we have moving forward. So if anybody's got any questions about that, that's going to be an initiative we're spending a lot of time with, a lot of effort with. I think it's real important. Pat is actually going to be talking to the folks from Sarah today about how we can uptick our outreach in the black community, because that's an area that we need to spend some time on and work on. And so Maria is going to help us with the brown community. She's got expertise in that and done a great job there. So those are a couple areas where we need to pick it up a little bit. So those are some areas that we're working on, and we're real excited, and we're open to anybody who wants to help with this effort. Move on to the let's talk about the Grand Prix for a little bit. You all approved that contract last month. Thank you. And we're moving forward. We've got meetings going. Rick is scheduling infrastructure meetings for the next 4 or 5 weeks as he pulls that all together again. Rick, do you want to give an update now on that? Anything you want to say?
Well, we'll go over it during our meeting, but quite frankly, we've got 3 different races this year, so it's a little different animal. Having a year off, I just hope I remembered everything, but yeah, we've got it all squared away. The first meeting will be, I actually will be in Daytona in another 3 weeks for the first aquacross race, and then we'll come back, we're going to start the infrastructure races for both the LaPorte Fest and the first Michigan City race, and then of course the big Great Lakes Grand Prix. We're the only race outside of Florida that has all the international boats this year, which is just amazing to think about the difference that it's made in 4 years, 5 years. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, and there'll be 3 or 4 probably different meetings before the race in August.
Yeah, as Rick referred, we're having a staff meeting immediately after this meeting, and we're going to, this is going to be one of the first live staff meetings that we've had in a while too, so we're looking forward to pulling all that together. And then the second part of our event thing is the Lake Fest activity going on in LaPorte. And in working with Keith Schreiber from the Park Department, he asked that we put a couple folks on the committee for that. And so Adam has agreed to step up and represent the board there, and Katie is going to represent the staff on that committee. So that's exciting. We've got both events going. And as you'll note, it's under a different point on the agenda, but you do have a contract in front of you with the P1, Powerboat 1. We'll be talking about that later, but that's, once you guys give that approval, that's going to give us the impetus to go right forward with the logistics of getting those 2 races in. And just to be clear, the contract that you're approving, Nelson will make this clear when it comes up, is for the Lake Fest race and the Michigan City July 10th and 11th race. That's what that contract covers. There's nothing to do with the aquacross event that are part of the Grand Prix. That's a whole separate contract. Okay, we'll cover that. Let's see, Blue Chip, Angie's on vacation this week. Good for her. Glad she was able to get out of town for a few days. Just talking with Brenda, they're super excited that they're back to 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Big deal. That's huge in their mind, and certainly in ours. And as all of you probably saw recently reported, to that end, now that I think it's effective this coming Monday, if we stay in blue, which that's where we're currently at, that'll put all of our attendance at 100% at all of our venues. So as long as we stay in blue, the way I interpret the governor's new directions, that as long as the Porte County stays where we're at, we'll be able to be 100% at all of our events, which reflects great on our upcoming events that we're being worried about. Now, Blue Chip is governed a little differently because they're, not only they have to be governed by the governor's guidelines, but also the gaming commission guidelines. But according to both, they're able to open back up 100% capacity. I don't have details on like valet or the buffet, those two items. Last I heard, we're still actually in hold. They weren't opening those back up, but we'll get a clarification on those things. Heads and Beds Committee is really going well. I can say that we're still on the uptick on our innkeeper's tax. If anybody's got any questions about that, I'll be glad to let Amy speak to it, and I'll speak to it. But again, we attribute a lot of that to the fact that the vacation rentals are being forced to follow the law and pay them. That's a huge deal. And we're really, Linda and Amy are zeroing in on the marketing side of that piece, so we can make sure that we point a lot of our marketing towards that ever-increasing vacation rental numbers. That's a big deal for us. I think I mentioned last month to y'all, we're like third in the state in the offerings of vacation rentals. It's amazing the numbers that we have here. So we're going to make sure that we take advantage of that moving forward. Skipping back to the races, I'll just refer to them in plural. We are signing an agreement, not really a contractual agreement that has to come before the board, just a partnership agreement like we have with WIMS and with ALCO. We're signing a similar agreement with Region Sports Network. For those of you that follow high school sports, they cover a lot of stuff in the region in Indiana in sports, like football, basketball, baseball, the sectionals and regionals. So we're looking to reach out with that demographic. They're going to come in and we're going to give them rights to live stream the race. And in exchange for that, they're going to market our events from now all the way through to that demographic, which is a different group than we've reached before. So we're excited about that, just opening that up. And let's see, Gail, did you have anything under operation and finances that you and I talked about? Anything for today?
No, just that I had sent out to everyone disclosure forms, which are routine. They're slightly different dependent on by which entity the board member was appointed, but each board manager has their own. I've sent those to them by email, so they can ask me any questions and complete those at their convenience. I also want to know if any of the members want their information on our board manager's listing to be different than what I sent out. So if there's a business contact showing for you and you prefer to have your personal information or vice versa, if everything is accurate, just some housekeeping things that have already gone out to all the members.
I have a question, Gail. How about the application for the PPP funds?
For the round two?
Yes.
The stipulation for eligibility for round two of PPP was that the entity had a 25% reduction in income for 1 quarter in 2020 compared to the same quarter in 2019. We did not. So we were not eligible for round two.
I knew that. I just wanted the public to know that. That we did good.
I like that.
It's a way of getting it out there, you know.
Thank you.
No, I'm just kidding. But thank you.
Yeah, I like the way you operate. That's good deal. So, any questions? Yeah, I think what Gail's saying too is if you would want to stay after the meeting, any of you, and go over your the way we've got you listed or any things like that, please do. Pat's always talked to me off and on about getting the board involved in more community activities, and we're starting to do that, getting a few board members involved in some committees. We're going to talk to some more of you about getting involved in some of our events coming up, so we're going to actively try to increase it. That was one of the goals that I've had for a while, so we're working on that. And let's see, moving on, any further on heads and beds? Any questions? questions on that. I touched on the fact that the innkeeper's still going up. And that's kudos to Amy and Chelsea and Rick and everybody on that committee. Katie, and I hate to miss somebody, all the staff on that committee. Yeah, Brett, yeah, big time, Brett, big help there. So he gets to report in a minute. So Amy, you don't have anything else there?
No.
Okay, great, thank you. Linda, you want to go over the community recovery, please?
Sure. Thank you, Jack, and good morning, everyone. It's good to be in the same room instead of sitting in front of a monitor, talking back and forth. So welcome. My update for our Community Recovery Committee and our team members are Amy Riley, Dale Cooper, Katie Dermandy, and Brett University. And we had a couple meetings so far March, and one of the things we did send out last week was our visitor and partner e-newsletters. So all of you should have gotten them. If not, let me know and we'll be sure that you get those. We started this last year with part of our recovery process, and the first one we always do partners because it's more partner specific and so on. And then the visitor one that talks about what we have in LaPorte County and things to do. So those have gone over real well. We'll be probably doing another one in a couple months. We're going to be starting also our visitor guide distribution, brochure distribution, and with that, probably by April or early May, we're doing inserts to go inside those visitor guides because we're still using 2020. There were some couple things going on, a couple new properties that opened like under hotels that weren't able to get in. So we're trying to keep everyone up to date, but also talk about the attractions because a lot were closed last year. We're not doing a calendar of events this year because everything still has a big question mark, except for the county fair, our boat race, etc. So we're just kind of going step by step. It worked out really well for us last year. And the other thing we're still doing, Dale is calling partners. They're calling in on WIMS to talk about their business, new hours, if they're closed or will be opening. They're able to actually talk on live radio streaming, which also plays Rick's Michigan station, WHFB. So they're hearing what's going on in LaPorte County by all the different businesses. So that's gone really well. On the marketing side, we are just right now in the final stages of, and especially for a lot of you new, we have the Indiana Toll Road Visitor Guide, which we do along with Northern Indiana Tourism Development Commission, which Jack is on the board. And we work with them every year to put information out on our two exits, exit 39 and exit 49. Last year, and this is still the current guide, we have the inside back cover, which we do an ad for the Grand Prix. We're working on a new ad that will be in the 2021-2022 guide, which will pick up the Aqua Cross as well as the Great Lakes Grand Prix. One of the things that we found out last year in some publications that wanted to print about jet skis, and we sent them photos, that we can't legitimately in print use the word jet ski. So you'll see personal watercraft and a lot of things that we're printing out. And that still goes for the P1. We've had a conversation last week with Michelle from P1, along with Rick and Amy and I, and just gotten updates on things as far as the marketing standpoint to help continue promoting this race. The other part of what we're doing within ITDC, we are going to pick up, don't look at these pages, but 2 pages side to side, and it'll be exit 39 will show Michigan City properties, hotels, and exit 49 will show LaPorte properties. So we're real excited. This is something new we're doing with them this year, but as people are on the toll road and grab these, everything they need to know about Michigan City is there. And I believe, Amy, correct me, the hotels will also be on a monitor, playing at the plazas on the Indiana Toll Road.
Yes.
Okay, and then
It'll also be on their website, Indiana School Board.
yes, and their website, Indiana School North, and everybody will, the new people will get to know that really well. The last part of this is the map that just shows from Porte County, LaPorte County, and several of our partners can buy to have their icon on this map, which includes Blue Chip, Washington Park Zoo, the LaPorte County Historical Society Museum, and I think I said Blue Chip.
Yes.
So it's a really good pack of information, and this is all with what we do in the marketing aspect for the NITDC.
Where are those, Linda? Are those out front there?
Scott, did you ever bring any?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I did not. I've talked with Dinah. It sounds like next month, late next month, the new ones will be out.
Okay.
I didn't know how many you wanted here and then have to switch them out again or any of that.
Yeah.
I have a state conference that I'm going to in
We'll have
April,
new ones next
and I'd like to have
How early April?
April 20,
Oh, okay.
the last weekend in April.
Because everything's due for print by April 1st.
Okay.
And then we usually get them several, but this is my only copy, so if.
That's last year's, right? That's not,
This is the current one that's out now.
Okay.
This was like a 2021.
Okay.
And then 21, 22.
Yeah.
So this is the one that if you still have them on the toll road. Now I've got to go to South Bend, so I might stop through there and see if I can grab some if you still have them
I'm
on.
gonna have them give an update in a minute.
Okay, good. So, this, I just wanted to let everybody know, this is a big part of our marketing and what we do. We also have a marketing committee. We usually meet a couple times a month. And other than Porter County and Elkhart, we are part of that, Amy and I, and sharing ideas and so on as far as what we're doing to help promote our areas. So there's a lot happening and still happening, and it's just kind of good to just kind of get some new things going on. Gail also handed out to each of you, we're also members of the Indiana Tourism Association, and every month they do a snapshot of the industry and so on. So I wanted all of you to have a copy of this. March will be out probably at the beginning of April, so we'll get updates, but this is just good to follow to see what the industry is doing as far as hotels, etc. And to wrap up, last week, the Indiana Tourism Association had their virtual conference. There were over 200 participants in that, and that's great and that's usually what our numbers run for, actually when we go to the conference. It was a great turnout, a great schedule they had, and Pat, if you just want to hand this out, this has just kind of the schedule, and you'll see for the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, what was all involved in that, and we got a lot out of it. Chelsea, myself, Katie, Gail, and Amy were all participants, and we're waiting for them to send us everything in the format as it was presented, so we can zero down on some of the things that were discussed. So once again, that was a great conference, and just to let everyone know how your CVB is actively out there working, promoting our area, and I'm sure if you do introductions with the staff, you're going to see how involved we are in our community as well. Thank you.
Oh, great, thank you. And as Linda mentioned, that we got a couple new board members, so I do want to make sure we do some introductions. Probably might be easier as soon as we finish the meeting, to have a little interaction there. It's up to Pat, how she wants to handle that. But I do want Scott to follow up on Linda's comments on the brochure, the total business guide. That document is one of the best documents that we've ever come up with, and I've been in this industry now 20 years, and I've never seen a document that's been that effective across the northern part of the state. And as those of you that have been out of here know, Scott handles the distribution for the whole toll road, so maybe you could talk to that a little bit, Scott, about how effective that is and what you do with regards to the distribution.
As far as the toll road guide goes, I usually get those early spring. They usually bring in probably about 120,000 of them, and by the end of the season, I don't have any left. So that's probably one of the biggest movers that we have on the toll road. They are going to replace with the new, like I said, late next month, as far as distribution of everything else, probably, depending on the season, some of them are temporary, some of them are permanent. I put out between 150 and 175 brochures with Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Illinois, and Kentucky. So basically all the states around us, along with, but the majority of them are Indiana guides. Going back to the toll road guide, that's, like I said, that's probably one of the biggest movers that I have. And when I'm at the plazas, if I have anybody that stops to ask questions, that's what I go to. Unless it's something specific, you know, if they're looking for Chicago or Michigan City or, you know, anything in Elkhart County with range that refers to Amish country. But that's what I go to. And like Linda had shown, there's a map on there that goes completely across the state with the toll road and every exit that has access to all the amenities along the toll road. So any questions about the guide or any of that, I'll be happy to ask or answer them.
Yeah.
Sure.
You said businesses can have the icons on the map. Is that restaurants as well, or is that just?
It depends on the individual business, the majority of the time. And as far as that goes, they haven't in a couple of years now because of the new ownership of the toll road. They had, each stop had what restaurants were in those areas, the travel plazas. But as far as on the map, there haven't been any because it just takes up too much space. But they can advertise throughout, and it has what exit to take to get to it.
Leanne, that's pretty much a sales thing, and we have sales staff on our regional group that goes around to the hotels or the restaurants in each county along the toll road. And what we saw was that because of the pandemic, a lot of our restaurants unfortunately had to back off of their marketing, but it is an option normally for restaurants also to be able to participate in the guide. Amy, can they do couponing too, the restaurants?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay to play, but yeah, they can.
Yeah.
That's what I wondered, if they could put coupons in there.
Yeah. They do it.
Coupons in the back.
It just dropped off a little bit in the end because of the economy backed off a little bit. Restaurants wouldn't be able to. But it's the couponing for the hotels is huge. Yeah, those things fly out, and plus you can track those. Those is important.
Those coupons in there are probably. There are two other hotel coupons that I put out. Actually, one now. The other one kind of dropped out, but that one has it. Those coupons and any of them that are in the toll road guide, those pretty much stay consistent. And like Amy had said, it's only if they want to be in it. Obviously, they pay to be in it. But there are a lot of them, and they're not necessarily right on top of the toll road. So like I said, if they go down to Shipshewana, there are Shipshewana guys down there, because I don't know if you've been to that area, but there's not a lot between the toll road and Shipshewana.
Right.
But once they get there, there are a lot of coupons for there and advertisements for businesses there as well.
And the cool thing about this whole marketing scheme, the way Linda and Amy and our staff on the regional team have devised this, so somebody pulls a coupon for something to do with the Notre Dame game or something to do with Shipshewana, it drives them through us, through our regional website, so they can't help but say, wait a minute, you can go to Blue Chip while you're in the area, or you can come and visit Premium Outlets. So that's the whole part of the way Amy and Linda and the regional staff have designed this to make sure we all get the effect out of this regional marketing partnership that we have. It's awesome. It's a great thing. So we sometimes take that for granted, and we need to explain that once in a while. So if it's all right, Pat, I got a couple more reports, if it's okay.
Sure. We're good.
You're good? Okay, great. Brett, you want to give a report update, please?
Sure. Several things going on. I guess we'll start out with as Jack touched base on Lake Fest 2021. Just had our first organizational meeting. Well, I shouldn't say first. We had begun meeting last year before COVID had taken over. So we picked up where we left off from last year with few changes on the committee. Mark Schreiber's the one heading that up. I believe we had about 11 people involved in the meeting last Thursday. and we'll be meeting every 2 weeks pretty much from this point forward. The hub of it being the Aquacross race, being based out of Stone Lake, headed up by the Convention and Visitors Bureau here. And then the plan is to utilize all 3 lakes in LaPorte and have different events going on at every lake, and utilizing our local either service clubs or organizations such as the Lake Association, or local churches, etc., to put on smaller events throughout to make it a community-based festival. We'll have more information on that at next month's meeting. In regards to the Civic itself, we have started picking up. April 17th, we have the LaPorte County Symphony coming back again. We just hosted a concert for them last week, which went extremely well. They were very happy with their turnout. It's nice to have visitors back in the building and not just doing live streaming. On top of that, we're hosting a meeting for the city on concerning the north-south corridor. It's going to be on April 13th in the main level. It starts at 6 p.m. For those of you not quite familiar with that terminology, it's basically discussion concerning getting truck traffic off of Highway 2/Lincoln Way going through the center of LaPorte. That's a hot topic in our community, so that's a big meeting. We're hosting a few events as well with Pop Warner, several weddings. We're excited because once we get through Easter and spring break, we're back to full, basically through mid to late June, and then we pick back up in August, and we're pretty much full through Christmas. So we're quite excited about that. A few things going on with LEAP as well. LEAP Coffee Talk's going to be April 20th at 8 a.m. I'm not sure if that's going to be Zoom or in person. They're still debating on that. And the LaPorte Young Professionals Network is still getting going. Both of those events and projects, Lindsay Johnkine's heading those up. You can reach her at 324-8584 if you have any other questions or want to be involved. Please do so. And also, Arts in the Park is back. Thursday, June 3rd is their opening concert at the amphitheater at Fox Park. I believe they're hoping to have new lighting installed by then. That was approved at the park board meeting last week. And they have a great opening act, the Heartache Tonight cover band for the Eagles. Some of us may have heard them playing up at the Acorn in Three Oaks, but it's a great band to watch. So it's gonna be a great summer. We're looking forward to it, and the Civic's happy to be up and running and moving again.
Yeah, great, thanks, Brett. Brett mentioned the Pop Warner event there. That's a Scholastic. The Pop Warner is recognizing the Scholastic All-Americans, and there's going to be 11 states feeding into that, and Mayor Dermody is going to be the keynote speaker, congratulating the scholar athletes. So that's kind of cool that Brett was able to snag that event.
It's cool from a few.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, it got smaller because of COVID, so we got to look at different venues, and LaPorte Civic fit perfectly.
I would just like to stress how important the economic development corridor is to especially downtown LaPorte. We identified that as an area that needed work 15 years ago at the chamber, and the chamber has pushed that for that many years. It's essential that we get that truck traffic out of downtown to help our local businesses downtown and to make it safer downtown for pedestrian traffic and that. So I would just really like to say good job getting that thing started up again, because it's really, really important. I mean, when I took the chamber over 15 years ago or 20 years ago, I mean, it was, I don't know, it was already on the books that previous chambers leadership expressed the desire to get the economic development corridor. I used to get in a shouting match with Lee Morris. He called it the economic development corridor, and I just called it the bypass. So we back and forth touted that, but again, keep up on that. if you would, please.
Thanks for your leadership on that too. And as things normally happen, as Mike mentioned, he inherited some discussion on that. Mike moved that forward in a great way while he was in charge of the chamber. The folks at the chamber now, Bert and Mike, are doing a great job with that. And Mayor Dermody is leading the charge on that. And then, as Brett pointed out, those things aren't always popular, but they're the right thing to do. And Mayor Dermody's really taken the lead on that. So thanks, Mike, for your help and leadership on that. That's awesome. Pat, I got one more committee report, and that would be, as you alluded to, one of our, part of our new goal that we put forward that you guys approved was helping to support financially the FMEC, and they've hired Susie, as you know. She'll be a regular contributor at our meetings. So congratulations to Pat and the group that got us to this point, Randy and everybody. And then Susie's just going to do a great job. And Susie, you got an update for us? That'd be awesome.
I do. Thanks, Jack, and thanks again for including us in your meetings. It does mean a lot. As you know, in essence, FMEC is a brand new company, and we are starting basically from scratch, being handed a piece of property and turning it over. So there are a lot of very important tasks at hand as we go through this transition. Starting off, my most important thing has been building and strengthening relationships between our stakeholders, attending meetings of stakeholders, joining chambers, and just trying to get the word out about who we are and what we're looking to do, and that we're more than just, we're not running the fair, we're running the fairgrounds, we're running the property, and wanting to turn it into more of a community-based, and having LaPorte County seeing it as a central point where lots of things happen, and it's not just about the fair. One of the things we're also working on a lot right now is our infrastructure. We're working actively on pre-fair upgrades. There are some things that need to be done on the grounds to get it up to par and looking better in general before the fair. And we're also working on long-term visions. Our committee's meeting weekly at this point. We're looking at the next 5 years, the next 20 years. What kind of buildings do we want to have? What do we want to, what are our ultimate goals? And once we get that wish list together, we're going to work on a business plan and work on grants as well. I'm sure I can count on Pat for helping me along with those things as we get there. And I will appreciate it very much. We're also still working on our website, our social media. We are in our final stages. I am very nitpicky on things, and I want to make sure that we come out with a bang. I don't want to come out with this being second rate. I'm really excited. Sarah Solutions is doing our website with us, and it looks fantastic. We are putting in some final things, like we're going to be linking to the CVB in a big way. We're going to take your travel info, your lodging, your see and do. We want to say to people, thank you for coming to the fairgrounds, but here's what else you can do while you're in town. And so we're going to be linking up with the different chambers and the CVB as well. Now for the fun stuff. We are starting to get more bookings coming in. Yes, we do have our normal weddings, events, like we have the Indiana State Holstein Association coming in for a show for a week. We have a national goat show looking to come in. We have lots of horse shows, canine scent detection, competitions. The vaccines are still on the grounds through May, but we're also working on larger shows. We're working right now on a contract with Monster X truck shows that they're wanting to come in the first 2 weeks of June and put on a very large event. So keeping our fingers crossed that pans out. We're also working on a fall and Halloween festival with my friends in Chicago. Chris Kindle Style Market in Pioneerland. I'm working with Pioneerland on doing that. And we also have a group out of the Midwest called Magic of Lights that they do the drive-through Christmas light shows. And we're working on securing them as well. So there are things to look forward to along with everything else going on. So thank you.
Oh, great. Thank you. It's going to be a great partnership. Yeah, we really got to a great spot to it.
Is there any talk or discussion about the fireworks?
There haven't been yet. I know it's been mentioned. I know Pat and I have talked about it briefly, but I don't know, I'm not sure what our next step is in that, but yes, it is.
Well, usually the Tourism Bureau gets a letter for they sent information on submitting a letter of interest And we haven't had that yet.
No, it's forthcoming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as soon as we get that,
It comes, it'll pass right on to Susie.
Yeah,
You bet.
we'll get that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely, we have talked about it, kind of in general with FMEC and how that would work, and trying to avoid some of the issues that have happened in the past, and I think we have a good plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're ready for it this year.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike, for touching on that. That's a big economic impact potentially for our county. We know there's some challenges, but Susie's on it, and, we're going to meet those head up front and try to get everybody involved with that. So, Pat?
I just want to add something to Susie's report. Prior to when Susie came on, we did a lot of infrastructure rebuilding prior to that, and all told, we're about $500,000 of investment into those things. We really didn't feel comfortable going into our marketing strategy without having a facility that was safe and could provide the services that these companies would need in order to have their events. So a lot of money has gone into the grounds, and we're really getting close to being right where we want to be for the infrastructure part of it. And then, as Susie said, we're getting to the fun part. And again, just to remind everybody, the goal here with the organization is to manage the facility and being able to bring in those major events that can produce the types of revenue so that that facility can be self-sufficient and that we won't have to use taxpayer dollars to run it. So we kind of put that on Susie, but she has our backup to our support to back her up and help her in any way we need. And with the community has really been pleased with our choice, and so I'm looking forward to the community supporting her as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. If it's any inclination of the kind of support you're giving us, I'm sure it's going to be great support for that. I appreciate that. And Susie mentioned something. We want to make sure it's clear to everybody. The FMEC is only responsible for the bringing in of the events. The Ag Association still runs the fair. Mike's on that board. And I want to congratulate that board for doing the right thing with leadership from Nelson's firm. He and Shaw and others had input. They pulled the trigger on removing that event, which was a hard thing to do. But Susie and I talked about that, and it was the right thing to do. We were in support of that. And they did, thanks for your leadership, Nelson and Mike, for being on the board there and doing the right thing. That was a hard thing for them to do because it cost them some money. But they did the right thing by moving down the road on that event, moving forward. So
yeah, I'd like to add to that, if I could, Jack, that the Ag Board, which Jack mentioned, I'm a member on from this board. And I mean, the discussions that we had on canceling that event was really a tough thing to do. And the board, I think, stood up and did the right thing, as Jack did. To the situation that some of the board members are getting death threats, which I just cannot believe that you sit on a local board and you make a decision that you think is the right decision, but then that leads to some of the board members getting threats.
it's the times we live in, and that's too bad.
It's a
Thanks
terrible
for your leadership, and I can tell you, Shaw and Nelson, that firm stepped up big time, helping guide with that, and I certainly appreciated that as we move that forward. So, lastly, Pat asked if we would just go ahead and have the staff give a quick introduction of yourself, because we got a couple new board members, so I'll just let you go around, just give a brief, what you do, and name and title, please, if you just go around on your own. Chelsea.
I'm Chelsea Miller. I run the front desk. I do county deliveries, so we go to about 200 places throughout the county, hotels, restaurants, gas stations, everywhere. We put our brochures and local brochures on I-94, so I handle all of that. I'm gonna start getting more into some of the social media aspects of our office and handling, hopefully getting some Pinterest stuff going more, maybe some Instagram, TikTok, looking into that sort of thing too, so.
Scott Miller, like Jack said, I do the toll road, I take care of all 80 plazas along the toll road, all the way from Portage to Howe. So pretty much almost any day of the week I'm out there. I also take care of light maintenance around the office and maintain all of our vehicles, my van, the 15 passenger, making sure that's tip top for any kind of transportation that we have to do for the boat race or any other events that we have, helping out Blue Chip or anything like that.
Scott also schedules the front desk, and once we open back up, he'll be in charge of that too. So, good, thank you. Come around.
Hi everybody, I'm Gail Cooper. I'm curator and community relations manager. I also sit on the board for the Besnick Center of the Arts, Center for Creative Solutions, the Historical Society, LaPorte County Historical Society Museum. What else?
Library.
Yeah, Michigan City Library Board, and on those, I'm also on the board for the celebrating Naomi Anderson. Let's see, what else?
She brought the donuts today too.
Got your breakfast for you. But I also go out into the community and talk with our partners and see what they need. So that's a big deal of what I do. So yeah.
She's being modest, but she's also a commercial movie star or whatever.
Might have seen me on TV on that next door. That's about it. That's it.
I can't follow that. Rick Wright, I'm the manager of conventions and sports events, and the director of the Great Lakes Grand Prix and both aquacross events apparently now. But basically what I do is I work with Blue Chip on a lot of overflow for their conventions if they need extra hotel help, and of course I do control or work with our hotels on the different sports events that hit LaPorte County. But obviously our marquee event is the Great Lakes Grand Prix.
And Rick wasn't being presumptuous. The board still has to approve that contract for the aquacross event. In a few minutes, actually, happy to come to that. But once that's approved, then that's part of your job. Yeah.
I'm rooting for us.
I'm Katie Dermody, and I'm the community, oh my gosh, the community, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I work on the community recovery board and the heads and beds, and then I'm also a part of Vibrant Communities and the hospitality advisory board at Purdue Northwest, and then also as of late, the Lake Fest board. We just had our first meeting last week. So I'm doing a little bit of everything with all different communities, right?
Yeah, the goal with Katie certainly is being fairly new, but being industry driven, and her goals personally is to track a lot of us individually. So she's going to move around and follow several of us to just kind of broaden her experience as she fits in here. And then she came in right with the pandemic, and she didn't really get a chance to do that. That's going to all change a little bit as soon as she gets moved into her office.
Yes, I have
that's a personal goal of mine and yours, right?
Well, I'll just say to you, Katie, you're working with an outstanding team, so.
I have loved every minute of it in the last year, despite everything going on with the pandemic, and it's been crazy in and out of the office, closing and opening, so I'm kind of excited to get back to normal this summer and get a taste of what it will really be like.
My name's Brett Mercy. I actually have a hybrid position. I'm the director of the LaPorte Civic Auditorium through the City of LaPorte and the Park Department, and I'm also the LaPorte Events Director for the LaPorte Convention and Visitors Bureau. My position is 30% funded by Jack and the board, so we thank you for that. It helps free up revenue for the City of LaPorte as well to do other things throughout our community. I was very active with the Maple City Grand Prix when we had it here. We'll be very active as the LaPorte Events Director with the Aquacross Series. I'm also a member of the Lake Fest Board. Very active with the Rotary Club of LaPorte, past president for 2 years, and I'm a new member of the Executive Board for the Youth Service Bureau in LaPorte. My first meeting actually is tomorrow with Gail. And very excited to serve.
And just for the new board members' benefit, basically how this came about, the city of LaPorte was not going to be able to keep the position open to maintain the civic auditorium, and we just couldn't see that happen. So we got together with Mayor Germany, we said, we got to work together to make sure that that doesn't go south on us. So that's why it'll come before you guys again in next year's budget. We've been doing that for a couple of years now, and it was the right thing to do for us to step up and help fund that position to make sure that we didn't lose that great venue that we've got in the Civic. So just a little backstory for some of the board.
Hi, I'm Amy Riley, and I'm the digital marketing manager, and I oversee our websites, which is the visitmichigancitylaport.com and Great Lakes Grand Prix. So there's a lot of work to be done there, constantly updating events and so on. So if any of you sit on committees, love to have your events. A lot of things are coming back. We're very excited about that. I also oversee the social media. We currently have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter. And as Chelsea mentioned, we might dabble in TikTok and Pinterest here soon. I'm discussing that. Also oversee the newsletter. I work with Linda and the committee closely on that. Work with the NITDC group and the marketing committee. Just basically, work closely with Linda on a lot of the marketing materials and so on. I also sit on the LaPorte County Foundation Board. I'm in Kiwanis, in charge of different things there, and on the board of the DeCamp Band of Brothers.
And you are also, at Linda's guidance, you're now our second person that has achieved your individual certification within the industry.
Well, I'm almost.
You're there. And I give Linda a lot of credit for recognizing your ability and letting you grow, because you certainly grow since you've been here, so thank you.
Hi, I'm Gail Johnson. I am the Administrative and Finance Manager for the Bureau, Jack's assistant, right hand, and...
right and left.
Thank you, Pat. As Brett mentioned, I am on the board of the, what's our bureau?
Youth Service Bureau.
Youth Service Bureau. Thanks, Brett. And have been for apparently a long time. I've also been involved with United Way for quite some time. I was a member of the allocations committee this past campaign year, and I'm acting as the assistant president of the board this year. So very pleased to do that. Very pleased that Jack and the board just supports all of us to be able to be involved in those community entities that mean so much to us.
48 different boards we're on, spread out over the staff, 48 of them getting the community involved. That's great. Susie, you already met Susie, you heard Susie. I think that got all the staff. Awesome.
Yeah, I just want to add on to what Jack is saying also.
Oh, sorry. Oh, my gosh.
Let it go.
I'm sorry. We sit too close together.
Yeah.
I'm Linda Simmons, Director of Marketing, and as you've been able to tell, as all of our staff has introduced themselves, that we are a team. We work together really well, and that's why we have a lot of the success that we do have. One of the things I did omit in my report was, we know that March Madness is booming right now, those that you follow NCAA. Visit Indiana right now has the best high school gym that you can actually go on visitindiana.com, and the Civic Auditorium Gym and the Wolves Den in Michigan City are both on there. Voting ends on April 1st, so we have time, and we'd love to have everybody go in and vote for your choice for that. But this is a great group. Marketing is always exciting, and when we got hit last year with the pandemic, it just changed everything, but also made us more resourceful. So we thank the board for trusting us and giving us the opportunity to do the things that we do, and we will continue doing that. So thank you.
Just to clarify on the voting on the best gym in the state of Indiana, there's a write-in for the Elston Red Devil gym. Just so everybody's interested. They missed the mark and left that out.
Oh.
We love the Civic.
Oh.
We love the Wolves Den.
Right.
But we're hitting up a write-in, Pat and I.
I got that.
Yeah, a write-in for the Elston gym, which is obviously the clear cut one.
Yes,
So, That's a lot of stuff.
I just want to make a comment because it's important for the board members to see and recognize how involved we are in the community, and not only their responsibilities here at the Bureau, but the commitment to the community and getting out there, making sure we have a face, the LaPorte County Convention and Visitors Bureau, we have a face in the community through all of our staff and also you as board members. And so we're real prominent in the community, and we want to keep that way.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, with that, we have some unfinished business that we need to, some new business that we need to take care today, and it is with our Power Board P1 USA contract. And this is the Aquacross events. And I'm going to turn this over to Nelson so that he can handle this for us.
Sure, thank you, Pat. And I'm Nelson Pichardo, for the new board members. The associate was treatment associate member of the board.
See, when you sit at the table, you get a whole different status.
So anyways, nice to meet you all, and congratulations on your appointment. I reviewed the contract for the Aquacross Grand Prix. It looks great. It's very similar to the contract that we have with OPA, so I don't have any issues, legal issues with the contract at all, and I would recommend that the board pass that. Just so everyone knows, it's for the two events that not only run the Aquacross at LaPorte, but also here in Michigan City as well. So we've incorporated both just for convenience.
It's one contract, but it covers both events.
Correct, that's right. Being involved now for a few years with the CBB, that Maple City Grand Prix program was wonderful, and I'm glad that we're able to, contract with these folks to get that going again. And the event, it seems like it's going to be very well run from the contract, the liability, from a liability standpoint, so everything is covered. One important aspect similar to the OPA contract that we made sure that was in there was regarding any future potential pandemic issues. We have say as to what happens regarding health and safety concerns, whether or not we have to cancel anything or move anything. There aren't going to be any liability issues because we've made sure that it's in writing that the board and the CBB has complete control regarding what happens regarding health and safety concerns there. Other than that, like I said, it's very similar to the OPA contract, and we've been using that contract language for several years now and haven't had any issues. So I'm comfortable recommending that to you all. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer. Everyone has a copy of it, right? I don't want to go through each detail since you already have it.
Yes. Anytime when we email something to you, we mean Gail, when you get an email, if you have questions on the document in any way, shape, or form, if it's from Nelson or if it's a contract issue, feel free to contact Nelson or Jack. Those are your direct contacts. We want to make sure you know what you're approving and that you're not just signing things off as some boards do, but we're not one of those. So I just want to encourage the new members, the other members know, but the new members, be sure at any time you have any questions, Jack is available, and if it's legal, he's just going to refer you to Nelson anyway. So. Okay, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve our contract with Power Board P1 USA LLC.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mike Seitz and a second by Doug Waters. Any further discussion? Okay, those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nelson.
You're welcome.
Okay, you've earned that $1 million that we just wrote a check for.
By the way, that came in under budget. Seriously.
Not the $1 million. Not the $1 million.
It's all public information. But we had budgeted $25,000 for each of those two races. Essentially, the Aquacross portion of the Grand Prix is not included, as Nelson pointed out. So we were talking about 2 races. We budgeted 25 apiece. Rick and I, and I'm going to give Rick most of the credit here, through negotiations with our friends from London, we were able to get 5,000 knocked off of each one of those because we packaged the deal up. Now, assuming Adam and Katie and Brett are able to get us some help with the event in LaPorte, and we can get some reimbursement back on alcohol and food, well, this is going to be a pretty good financial deal for us, being able to get that 5,000 knocked off each race. So probably should have hit that earlier, but we approved it anyway, so it's all good.
That's all right. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you for that. This portion of the meeting is usually open for any board comments, and these are just general comments that you may have. No negative, no, just kidding. No, any concerns or any things you just have on your mind concerning the Bureau or the community that you want to share? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. I need a motion. So moved. Second. Without objection, motion to adjourn. Second. Motion carries.
Thanks, everybody.
See you next month. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah,
100% attendance. I'm putting